Hello, this is my second video, and location change. I'm usually supposed to do it in my room, but I went outside. I went outside on my roof today, and was way too good of a weather to actually not be here. But yeah, there are also like people building shit over there, so that's true. Anyways, today's topic is rather interesting. It's something that I think exists only for me because okay, there's a very confusing story here because it's either something that I made up in my head or something I saw in a manhwa. It's called rebellion against divinity. Now, for me, it's a very flexible concept. But in the manga, it was usually like there was a tower, and God was there for some reason, and then like they had to fight him or something. I don't know. Hella confusing. I think it was Tomb Raider or something. Maybe not. I'm not sure because I left the manga halfway. That's why I don't remember it. But I got this concept off of that because when I read the manga, I was an edgy teenager, and the phrase "rebellion against divinity," it was way too cool. And because I was also an atheist back then, so it was like back then when it started, it was the idea was rebellion against God because I was an atheist. I didn't believe in God, but slowly it changed. Now let's go through the history of this for myself because this is a very personal topic because it's purely based in me. There's no generalization here. It's purely based in what I am, what it meant to me. Now when I started back when I was 15, 14, this topic it meant it was a source of belief. I was an atheist. I didn't believe in anything. You know, I didn't have I didn't have a lot of I was lacking a lot of human things because I was going through the edgy phase, but that edgy phase turned out to be really bad for me. But rebellion against divinity, the first one, it was purely against God. It was everything I did was a rebellion against divinity. The divine. I didn't want to be a part of the divine. So I rebelled. This rebellion is something that is, innate in human nature, and it's even more innate in me because of my blood. I don't mean it that in a weird way, but like my father, his grandfather, they were both sort of outcasts. We all three of us, we were socially outcasted by ourselves. We didn't really do the normal stuff. We weren't. A lot of us had. All three of us had experiences that made us never fit in. For me, it was self-isolation. For my grandfather, it was, his wife, because they were not his wife. That's the wrong thing. It was this ever-changing life because he had so much to deal with. And my father, it was moving from America to here. Now, rebellion against divinity. The first one is quite simple, right? It's just God. It's just rebellion against God. I was being an emo kid. But when I was 16, 17, last few years ago, that's when it changed. That's when rebellion against divinity became something different. I started believing in God, first of all. And the concept sort of disappeared, but it became innate. I said it so much that it became a part of me. That, rebellion against divinity is me. I am the rebel against the divine. I know how corny that sounds, but to a 17, 16-year-old Mahad, this shit was needed. Like, it was necessary for survival. But we take that into account, and then you have the second version of rebellion against divinity, which was rebellion against myself. When I was 16, 17, I went through a phase of my life where I didn't like anything. I don't want to be anyone. I was no one, yet everyone all at once. I was fitting into every single crowd. And internally, that killed me. That I hated that feeling. But externally, of course, I loved it because, I was fitting in. For once in my life, I wasn't the outcast. But deep down, I was. Deep down, I never felt anything. So that rebellion against self was born. It was still called rebellion against divinity because I considered myself to be the divine. I was made in the image of God. That's actually kind of blasphemous, but I'm going off of scripture, Christian scripture here. But you were made in the image of God. But you were made in the image of God, and that is rebellion against divinity, because you are going against your own very nature, thus inherently going against the nature of God. And I think that's what made it so appealing, because it fed one of my older beliefs, but at the same time it was targeted at my new beliefs. That I had to be against myself. I had to fight my urges. I had to fight everything about myself. I had to change. you know and I did fight a lot, but I'm not a best of people. I have done a lot of bad stuff to people. I've been the evil person a lot of the time. Usually I am at the one at mistake, because I'm the one at fault, because I am erratic, I am all that stuff. However, the rebellion against divinity, it sort of humanized me. It made me think in terms of good. It made me want to be good, in the sense that I didn't have to be evil. I'm not sure what I should talk about this here, because it's just like it's a very personal topic. There's nothing I can do here. Okay, I think I'm gonna scrap this, and then I'm gonna do the Devil's Wala. No, actually no, fuck that. I'm gonna do the Devil's Wala too, but I'm gonna finish this first. But yeah, second version is just purely about me rebelling against myself and trying to be something I'm not. I spent those 2 years just trying to fit into society so perfectly well, and I did. I was good at it. Lying is something that comes naturally to me, and lying is really broad. When you start applying lying as a formula to everything, it just works. And for me, that just worked so well. I could lie about myself. I could make up facts. I could use logical fallacies to convince people. There's people there, and I'm hella awkward. Let me go back. Yeah, I could use logical fallacies for whenever I wanted. I was undefeatable. Not in a sort of egotistical, edgy emo way, but in the way that you could not perceive my realities. You could not tell when I was lying. This is one of the biggest things I face still in relationships today. That I lie for no reason. There's people that's looking at me, bro. That's why I'm kind of leaning back. But yeah, that's one of my biggest problems. I still lie a lot. I can't help it. I'm a pathological liar. I do stop now, but I still cannot control it sometimes. Yeah, but that was the second version. Now the third version, which is the one I follow now, is sort of a motivational thing. The rebellion against divinity, it still says the same. It's a rebellion against yourself, but it's a rebellion against your evil urges, or what you should not be. I have a lot of bad urges. I have had that whole phase. I've had that terrible, annoying asshole phase. I've had all those phases. And the problem with me is that I don't tend to let go of anything. My emotions, my feelings, whatever it is. You could bring someone from the past back and I would actually tear up in their arms. I don't tend to let go of anything. So I remember every single moment of these. I act dense. I act like I don't remember things. But I remember every single thing. And I only act because I want to keep up the act. So it's like an actor acting in an act. You're acting to keep up the act. It's like Tick Tick Boom. The movie where the guy is trying to be an actor or a writer or a playwright or whatever, but he's acting in a movie. It's an Inception kind of thing. But yeah, that was me the entire whole time. But now, recently, the divinity changed. I sort of had a lot of epiphanies. I went through a lot of stuff. I lost a lot of people in my life. Not like fucking losing friends. I don't give a fuck about that shit, bro. Who the fuck cares about friends? A lot of people, family members. I don't want to talk about this, but a lot of my family members, they passed away, and it was the first time I kind of felt death so close. All my life, death has been very far away from me. I felt it really close, but either I wasn't old enough to comprehend or it was really far away. However, certain deaths were really close, super close, something that was imperceivable to me. I didn't think it would happen this early, and that changed me. And the rebellion became against myself, yes, but it was against my urges, my emotions. Um, as soon as I lost, as soon as I had confronted death so much, the rebellion, the emotions of death tend to take over me. Okay? I was erratic, I was impulsive, emotional, and those feelings they took over. That's when rebellion came into play. It was sort of a reminder to wake up, and to not fall for the play, to not fall for the ploy of death. Realize that death is a part of it, and it's never gonna actually truly go away. You have to just deal with it. But those negative emotions, the want to fucking kill yourself again, the want to just disappear, and want to cut off everyone. That's what I struggle with a lot, especially the want just disappear. I hated people after the deaths. After like 4, 5, 6, even now, I fucking hate people. I hate it. I hate social contact. Even in school now, I sit in a corner alone. Not like always, but like whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed or anything impulsively bad, where I can feel my rebellion boiling up, I fucking hide because I'm scared of myself. Of course, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm erratic. I let my emotions get out of control. Yeah, but now it's changing because the rebellion is becoming sort of outlet. I'm using the rebellion as a way to outlet my healthy emotions. I'm using it as a way to be confrontational with myself and others. All my life I've been unconfrontational, where I just don't care about people's emotions, what they think about me. And a lot of the time I lost friendships because of that. Some of them I value, usually I don't. I lost absolutely no friendships, but I was losing one friendship recently because of this. And I confronted it. I stood up for it. And in the midst of it, the funniest thing is I realized that people's perspective matters. I'm not crying, it's my voice, I'm sick. And the smog it. People's perspective matters to you. It changes you. It impacts everything you do. And I realized that this is completely. I'm shifting into another topic, by the way, that I've written. It's called Jedi Wala. I got a Jedi topic. It's basically the same thing, but yeah, it's basically the same Jedi mindset. The Jedi, they understood this whole concept better than anyone. They understood that attachment and impulsive emotionless is emotional attacks, whatever. They are the doom of you. They will turn you to the dark side. They will make you a bad person. And they did. For a moment I was the bad person. I turned into something I never do. I was an annoying asshole. I was becoming something I was Pele, when I was just a bad person. My vocabulary is kind of dying right now because it's actually, I'm stressed out by that guy. I need to switch places, but yeah. But the rebellion, it lasts, It's sort of an internalized concept because it's shaped around you and your experiences. I think it's interesting because, I cannot explain it very well, but when I speak of it, I can just speak of it. Rebellion against divinity. To me, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe to you it doesn't. It does to you, Mahad. You're the only one watching this. Maybe. I don't know. But I might, if I'm ever gonna make this account public, I'm privating this. But yeah, rebellion against divinity is, it's something that makes you infinite. It's something that changes you entirely. It's something that makes you entirely. It is something that will either kill you or make you, or both. Yeah, that's it. I don't know what else to speak. I spoke for 13 minutes. That's probably more than enough.